this morning feeling fine. There's something special on my mind. Last night I met a new girl in the neighborhood. Whoa, yeah. Something tells me I'm into something good.
Tell us a wee bit about Herman's Hermits then. You shot to huge international fame. And one of the interesting things about the group is that the hits were quite different in the States than they were in the UK. Why was that?
Well, it was a different market. You know, in Britain, we made records that you could play right after the news. We thought that if you made a song that after the news, you know, the pound at an all-time low, this will not affect the pound in your pocket. Doom. Then you woke up this morning, or don't know much about history, you know, something, there's a kind of hush, something up. Whereas in America, it was a different radio over there. We shot them, Mrs. Brown. It was in an album, Mrs. Brown, You Got a Lovely Daughter, and they took it, a DJ started to play it, so we had to release it as a single. Henry VIII was made specifically for the American audience, and I'm Leaning on a Lamppost was made for the American audience. Dandy was made for an American audience. She's a Must to Avoid was made in America for America, but also sneaked out in other territories. No Milk Today was a B-side in America, and it was a big hit in the rest of the world.
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Bills as sharp as her are something rare. But it's sad, she doesn't love me now. She's made it clear enough, it ain't no good to buy. She wants to return those things I bought her.
What do you remember about the 60s?
I remember everything that's important. I try to only remember the good things and try to forget the bad things, but what I remember most is the enthusiasm of everybody involved, which is sadly lacking from the music world nowadays. You know, just that genuine. You know, I say when I meet young musicians, I say, if you want to know what it was like, just look at the Beatles at Shea Stadium when they run from the dugout to the stage faster than any modern-day soccer player can run without a ball. Because that's called enthusiasm. We were so excited to get on stage, and when they got on stage, it wasn't a 10-minute lull with people in black T-shirts putting wires in and everything. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, just a pure enthusiasm. And remember that most of the people, for example, most of the people on this show didn't get into the music business because they thought they could get rich. They liked music. We liked music, and we just happened to be lucky enough that our hobby turned into a career as well. It's sort of as if you were a really good stamp collector, and then you opened a stamp shop and became successful. That's what we all did. We all found our way into a group. It's called a band in America, but a group is a unique formula because you have to get 4 or 5 people who all like the same kind of music. It could be the blues, it could be the folk, it could be in Herman's Hermits it was pop. You know, we would do My Boy Lollipop and Mother-in-Law and Fortune Teller and spread it around a little bit until we found who we were. And Herman's Hermits became Herman's Hermits. We did what Herman's Hermits do.
So listen very carefully, closer now, and you will see what I mean. It isn't a dream. The only sound that you will hear is when I whisper in your ear, I love you forever and ever. There's a kind of hush all over the world tonight, all over the world. You can hear the sound of lovers in love.
But for a while in the mid-60s, you and Herman's Hermits were selling as many, if not more, singles and albums than the Beatles.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of good years. We sold more than anybody in the world in '65, but we had 11 singles released in America in that period. You know, that kind of thing didn't happen in England. You said you got one in July and then another one in January, and in our case we would say it's really warm outside. Let's make a summer record, and we did Sunshine Girl. You know, and you could say let's have it out by next Thursday. Well, now it's months and months, and there's all kinds of projections, and and all the enthusiasm is gone. It's all now designer.
Sunshine girl, I feel your eyes on me. Your looks excite me. I wonder, can it be? Do you invite me to hold you tightly? How you delight me, my sunshine girl. Tonight, tonight, and every night, I'm gonna be beside you. Tonight, tonight, and every night, I'll be the one to guide you. As the wind blows gently on the blue lagoon, I'll hide you, sunshine girl, my sunshine girl.
And when Herman's Hermits broke up, you went on to have a very good solo career and joined Racked Records, didn't you?
It didn't feel that good at the time. I missed Herman's Hermits. I missed the camaraderie of being in a band. But we weren't. When we broke up, everybody was really happy to be out of it because we all had lots of things. Each one of us had many things that we wanted to do that didn't include the other people. You know, that's what happened. I wanted to do a Broadway play, and somebody wanted to own a gas station, and somebody wanted to... Everybody had different things that they wanted to do. But after a couple of years, I missed it. I missed that sort of getting there and setting up and having a set list that was all ours. You know, it was a we thing. You know, Herman's Hermits was... I never used the word I. We were we, which is an important word. You know, it's like if you interviewed the Beatles and they said we, you knew that they were friends right then.
Do you still keep up to date with any of the lads in Herman's Hermits?
Oh, yeah, of course I do, yeah. I see, you know, Keith Hopwood and I have been... He left on the same day I left, and he never got back in any of the reincarnations. He's still a friend. I speak to him every day. Every week, you know, when he's in France on holiday, we hang out, we have dinner together. When he's in America, we hang out. If we've got a court case about Herman's Hermits, we hang out. You know, we're close friends. Call him friends. And a friend is somebody that you can argue with constantly and at the end still be a friend. So we don't have to agree with everything that each other says.
Let's talk a wee bit about Oh You Pretty Things, because obviously we know it was written by David Bowie, however you want to say it, sadly passed away recently. Were you good mates with him?
I wasn't good mates, but I was a big admirer. I think I said when I met him, I said to a newspaper man, I think that David Bowie will be the next Paul McCartney, because I thought he was a brilliant songwriter. He played me a load of songs. He played me Life on Mars and a thing called Bombers and Oh You Pretty Things. And I think he thought that Oh You Pretty Things would be a good Herman's Hermits song. He took it to Mickey most as a Herman's Hermits song, but Mickey thought it was so good, he said, we'll have the first Peter Noone single. And that's what Oh You Pretty Things was. And in those days, if you did Top of the Pops, you had to have the people who played on the record on the stage with you. So David Bowie showed up and he was wearing a dress and a hat with flowers on it. So
and he played piano on it?
Yeah, he played piano. What happened in the session, nobody could actually do it. I don't know if you... What happens is he played the whole of the song in F sharp. Bum, 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 bum. And no other piano player could figure it out in F sharp. And it didn't sound good in F, and it didn't sound good in G. So he played it once through, and then we cut it. So it's just the same thing 3 times. And then he put that da-dun, dan, da-dun, dan, da-dun, da-dun, da, that pompous moment that was added later. So it's just a cut-up job, and that was the only way it worked. He got it right one time, and that was the record.
Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your mamas and papas insane? Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your mamas and papas insane? Let me make it plain, you gotta make way for the Homo superior. Wake up your sleepy head, put on some clothes, shake up your bed, put another log on the fire for me. I need some breakfast and coffee. I look out my window, what do I see? A crack in the sky and a hand reaching down to me. All your nightmares came today, and it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your mamas and papas insane? Oh, you pretty things, don't you know you're driving your mamas and papas insane? Let me say it again, you gotta make way for the Homo superior.
You mentioned Mickey Most. He was a legendary producer for Rack Records and produced so many artists and had so many hits. What was he like to work with?
Oh, he was my best friend. He was best man at my wedding. He's my father, my godfather to my daughter. And, I instantly hit it off. Mickey was like a member of Herman's Hermits and with anybody that was in, because he knew what we were talking. He knew who we were, and he knew how to pick a song that matched the artist. I remember with Hot Chocolate, the guy would play him songs and he would say, that's the hit, and that's the hit. And sometimes he was recording Donovan, and Donovan says, I'm not feeling confident about this Mellow Yellow. And Mickey would say, I'll get Herman in here and it'll be number one. Do you want that to happen? No, let me try one more time. So he was really good at picking songs. He had the ear of the public. He understood popular music at the time, and you go on a run with that for as long as you go on a run with that. Like Elton John had a run of like 20 number one records. Now none of his records are hits. Mickey had a long run because he was an extremely good song picker, and he wasn't really a record producer. He was a record director. Somebody engineered it, and he made you do what he wanted. He directed the performances, let's more bass and let's, I don't believe, he'd often say to me, I don't believe you. I go, what does that mean? So, I just don't believe you. Sing it again, make me believe, So he would, sort of a bit Stanislavski, that whole believing in Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter, is relevant. And consequently, I can still sing all those songs and not feel silly, because I believed them at the time, so I can go back and be that person in the song, and I feel comfortable with it. I can sing Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, and I'm not like, wait a second, it should be his granddaughter, because of that thing that he taught me. First of all, Herman's Hermits, luckily, never recorded it. We never ever recorded a song we didn't like. We recorded some that we couldn't play very well, like Bus Stop and Feel Love, and we couldn't get them right, so other people had hits with them. But we never ever recorded a song we didn't like, which is unique, unusual.
Something is happening, and it started happening when you walked by. Something is happening, I can't think of anything. Do you know why? Soon as you started to kiss me, something new suddenly hit me. The world over, it's always happening, the same sort of thing to others too. Something is happening to me, and I only hope the same thing is happening to you. Something is happening, exciting, bewildering, you must know why. Something is happening, I can't think of anything but you and I. What begins these loving notions? You do things to my emotions. I can't help whatever is happening. There's nothing about it I can do. Something is happening to me, and I only hope the same thing is happening to you.
And that there aren't many people who could name record producers. George Martin, late George Martin, being one of them. But Mickey Most is one of the other ones that people probably would be able to name as one of the influential record producers of the 60s, 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, well, he was that good, fortunately, we got involved with him. When we met him, he had the Animals and the Nashville Teens, and I think all three of us had number one records, like boom, 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 like that. He had a moment there where every record, even if they're all memorable, all Mickey Most records memorable, not for the sound of the records. They're all different. The Animals don't sound like Herman's Hermits, but they're always a great song. And I hate to say this, but I've said on stage to these people, this isn't about the singers, this is about the songs. If you've got a load of good songs, you can go out there and sing them. I can sing the shit out of them because I love them. I love them. I want, hey, listen to this. This is one of my songs. I love my songs.
took a walk and past your house late last night. All the shades were pulled and drawn way down tight. From within a dim light cast two silhouettes on the shade. Oh, what a lovely couple they made. Put his arms around your waist, held you tight, just as I could almost say in the night. Wondered why I'm not the guy whose silhouette on the shade I couldn't hide the tears in my eyes.
They're all unique and wonderful pieces of everybody's memory. If your memory is like this hard drive that things stick on, and there isn't something to flush it, and like on a Microsoft, spit stick. And music has always been the thing that connects people. My parents probably there'll be bluebirds over the White Cliff of Dover, and it brought them to memories of, it's fired off their little hard drive memory banks. The ink spots and stuff like that. So this audience know that. And nostalgia is forever. It's constantly being remade. It just keeps going, nostalgia. People will be nostalgic for whatever's... I don't know what's in the charts right now because I haven't listened to the radio this week, but there'll be people 30 years from now will go, oh, you remember that? We were in Edinburgh and we went up the tree, It will happen. Music is the constant thing. You remember Matt Busby, Georgie Best, every great football team you've ever seen, and all the songs that go with it.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, you've got There's a Kind of Hush, which is an absolute classic, later covered by the Carpenters. That must have been a bit of a surprise.
I wasn't surprised, actually, because he asked me to show him the chords. We did a TV show in Germany, and I taught it to him and told him how it did it. It happened a lot. It wasn't naive. I was just happy that people liked the music. So, he said, what happened today? And I go, and we go, so listen, it's an F and an F6, and he was a brilliant musician, Richard. And I showed him the song. I'm glad he didn't want to do All You Pretty Things as well, because I showed him that.
And Silhouettes, which is a lovely song covered by Cliff.
Really? I didn't even know Cliff did it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, we did it. We did a version of The Rays. It was Vic Flick who had this. Vic Flick was in the John Barry 7, and he had that which I think was his warm up, and it's a Silhouettes. It's now part of the song, but I think that was his warm up. Vic Flick made that record. If he wasn't there wouldn't have been. It was a pretty dull version of Silhouettes without Vic Flick on it. All those, you see, once upon a time, there was a massive amount of camaraderie. People would say, I've got this idea. They didn't say, how much will you give me for my idea? People just gave each other information. The Beatles loaned us their gear. People don't do that anymore. Everybody's really possessive about their stuff now. People shared. Jimmy Page came in the studio and played. He didn't ask us. I think he got £12. He played on, I think, Wonderful World. He played the guitar on Wonderful World. He got paid £12. He didn't ask for a piece of the writer's credit or some publishing or a free car service. He just did it.
But nowadays there'd be a big court case, wouldn't there?
Yeah, because the lawyers take over everything eventually, in the history, it's biblical times. The lawyers come along and fix it all.
What keeps Peter Noone going? I mean, apart from the heartbeat, obviously, but I mean, what gets you excited every night standing on a stage like here at the Usher Hall in Edinburgh?
Well, it's what gets me excited. My memory includes seeing the Everly Brothers in Manchester and going and seeing them backstage, and they were very kind to me, and I was just a kid. They had no reason to be kind to me, and the Beatles being nice to me, and then so I think that, if when you die, if all it says on your gravestone is he was a nice guy, that'll be fine. That's okay. I'm just a regular nice person. I love my songs, and I think of all those people out there, they all say, I could have probably sung this. And I should have, but I didn't he made the record. That's made the difference between us. I'm just one of the blokes, me.
Oh, won't you please play a song, the sentimental song, for my sentimental friend over there. We've been so long apart, make it go right to the heart of my sentimental friend over there. Bring the tears to her eyes, help to make her realize the love we had was just beyond compare. inside. My sentimental friend.